A lot of you have been asking when we're going to make a video on the water filter system that you've been seeing in our videos. Well, the time is now. We actually put this filter system in February of this year, 2021. So it's been in for almost a year, and we carried it around for probably a good 6 months before that, trying to figure out how to install it, which I'm going to get to. But the thing is, with our reviews, we don't just say, hey look, here's a water filter and blah blah blah, links below. We want to be able to show that we've used it, and we want to be able to prove its efficacy, either through testing or just our own experience. And it's a little bit difficult with a water filter because it's a tough thing to kind of quantify how clean is the water. So that was our first struggle. So we bought these testing kits, many different kinds, and we would test the water everywhere we went. Per usual, whenever we do something like this, it's always crappy up until you want it to be crappy. And we had great water everywhere we went for, gosh, the last 10 months. But you're going to see that over time, even those good water sources produce quite a bit of gunk in our filters, and we're going to show you that. We also have a test that we're going to share with you that Clearsource did at the end of the video, which is really, really cool. So be sure to stay till the end for that. A little background here, our RV came with a full RV water system. What I mean by that is when you hook up a hose to the in connection on our Nautilus system, that goes straight through a filter before it goes into the RV at all. Whether we're filling tanks or whether we are just using water on the fly, that water gets filtered through that single canister system. It's one of the big ones. It's not one of those little tiny inline ones. So it was a decent system, and we used that for a while, but we wanted something a little bit better. And researching this stuff, gosh, I found that there are 1,000 different ways to improve your water. There's water softeners, there's like reverse osmosis, you've got these UV light systems. It's really, really confusing to what to do, right? Because if you read all these things, you'll think, gosh, to really have good, perfect water, I need all of them. And you know, that's not practical. So we just punted and went back to the basics and said, let's just get a good filter system. In researching, I came across Clearsource. I came across several companies. There are a lot out there. What I really liked about Clearsource was they seemed to be really geared towards the RV market, and they have the new virus guard, which, you know, viruses are bad, right? So we went with that. They make both an internal and external system, and if you've watched our videos, you know I prefer to install things and just have them in there and not have to bring them out on travel day. So let's jump into that install. Per usual, this is not a how-to video because every RV is different. I'm not a water plumbing expert, but I have some good common sense in that arena. So I installed this myself, and this is how we did it. Now, we had a few hurdles to overcome. My initial plan was to install this thing adjacent to our wet bay, just on the other side of the wall. And if you watch our videos, you know we now have MORryde slide trays in those areas. It really wasn't going to work to put it there after that. Without the slide trays, you know, you can kind of stack stuff around it, but with the slide trays, you want to be able to slide the stuff in and out and not have it hitting a filter. So I sat on it for quite a while trying to figure out where I was going to put this. At one point I was like, oh, I have this little space under the skirt up in here, but obviously that can freeze. So that's not going to happen. It has to be in the bay where it can stay heated. So I gave this some thought, and if you remember back to our slide tray video, you know that I had to modify our angle wall. I took the angle out, and I took that wall and split it in half, moved it down like this. I ended up with two shorter walls in the basement in that corner, which was fine with me. I actually like it because I can peek over it and look for leaks or any kind of things going on back there. But that made it kind of open at the back of that wall to be able to mount it if I could figure out how to mount it up to the ceiling. But the problem with mounting it there is it would block access to the basement. And you know me, I like to get up in there to work on things, do projects. If I need to fix a leak, work on the pump, get to the water heater, I gotta get back there. And it's designed to be bolted in on the back. So I figured, okay, I will cut that off, which I did. So getting it mounted up this way and removing the back would solve my access problem. However, my next problem is, how do I remove these filters with water in the system and water pressure? I don't want to have to shut off the entire RV's water system just to remove these filters to either work in there or to replace the filters. Additionally, I didn't want the chance of water leaking out of the higher level systems, the sinks and plumbing all in here, and just draining out into the basement when I pull the filters. So I built a bypass system. This was really not that difficult. I got some blue PEX from Lowe's and some fittings and some crimps. Crimping PEX Fittings is not difficult. You just need the right tool for it. We will have links to ours below. But what I ended up doing was essentially building a bypass system just like you'll find on a lot of water heaters. Here's the bypass system. This is the top facing up this way. Water flows this way. This is normal mode. And then when I want to bypass it, I shut off these valves, open up this valve, and we're good to go. So once I had the back cut off and the bypass installed, it was really just a matter of putting some holes into the mounting plate that is now the top of the filter system, and then I just screwed it right to the ceiling, aka the floor. All depends on perspective. In the basement, it's the ceiling. Obviously, you don't want to use screws that are longer than the thickness of your floor. Because of the way the screw heads are on top of this system, it was going to create a bit of a gap there, so I had to take that into account. I could have done something fancier and mounted it and maybe put some shims in there, but I didn't. I just drilled holes, stuck them in there. It works fine. That is solid. Once I got it up there, it was really just a matter of running more PEX down to my system, to my Nautilus system. You'll see that the Nautilus system has a line coming in that immediately goes right back out to the wet bay, to that filter. So I just put it right in line, just like the old filter was. This is my in line here, and you can see that it will go down and connect right there. And then I've got this line ready to go. It'll connect here and then just run straight up to there. I did cut the old filter out of the system. I didn't want a fourth filter to deal with. I think 3 is plenty. Got it in, leak checked it. Phil's out there. He just turned, say hi, Phil.
Hey guys.
I just had him turn on the water and I don't see any leaks anywhere. Everything seems to be good. All worked great the first time, and we've been using it ever since. So let's talk a little bit about the efficacy of this system. I wanted to be able to show, look, we've got this contaminant here, and it's gone on this side of the filter. I really wanted to show that. I couldn't quite do it because we kept staying in places with really good water. However, we have the next best thing. By the time we kind of were thinking about, you know, we're just not going to be able to find bad water in time to make a video. We've been sitting on this filter for like 1.5 years. We said, let's take the filters out and see what they look like. And to be honest, we were probably a good double of what we should have been, and I think they recommend for full-timers to change these quarterly, which is reasonable. It had been about 6 months. So when we took them out, we were quite surprised, particularly at the first filter that filters out rust and metals. Oh my gosh, that thing was nasty. Second stage filter. You can certainly see a difference there.
Yeah.
In the first stage filter, obviously I don't need to unwrap this to see it. But that one, holy cow.
I mean, this one I'm touching with shop towel because it's gross. Wow.
So yeah, you can see it's done quite a bit for filtering stuff, and it's probably been way too long.
They recommend quarterly if you're full timing, right?
Yeah.
And this has been about 6 or 7 months, so
it's been 7 months. Yeah,
we're behind.
We're behind per usual. We're always behind on stuff like this.
Well, we thought it was 6 months and we were wrong.
Clearly, it's been doing a decent job.
So this is a 5 micron rust filter. This is a 0.5 micron coconut shell carbon block filter. Activated coconut shell carbon block technology removes chemicals and organic compounds that other filters allow to pass, while also greatly improving taste and smell. This is NASA-developed technology, reduces not just bacteria and cysts, but viruses and heavy metals using, I need my gloves, electroadhesive media. I need it to reduce the heavy metals because I have heavy metal toxicity.
So clearly, the rust filter is doing its job. So,
yeah, but like this stuff, you can't. I don't think that you can really see it.
No. And you know, the interesting thing here is we've been testing the water for metals, for rust, for all this stuff for the last 6 months at every site we go to, and they all test good. So this just goes to show you that the tests that we've been using, obviously a point in time test versus 7 months of test. So you can see that the filter is definitely working. All that junk you saw on the filter did not make it to our taps, and that's the point. When I talked to Clearsource, I asked them if they had anything that would actually show the virus level stuff, and they sent us this.
Viruses are thousandths of a micron. You could make a filter that would block them, but it would also not allow the water to flow. In the Clearsource Ultra system, we use a proprietary filter treated with an electrically charged coating that traps even the smallest contaminants, including viruses, while flowing extremely well.
That's cool. Is there a way to show that?
There sure is. The particles that give ink its color are in the same size range as viruses, measured in nanometers. If the system blocks ink, it will block viruses, and if it won't, then it doesn't.
Awesome. Let's do it.
This first jar has our ink solution in it. This is our pump and its battery. This is one of those blue inline filters that are so common, and this is our outlet jar. Let's turn on the pump and watch what happens.
Wow, the ink went right through.
Yep. Now let's try it with our competitor 2 canister system. Turning on the pump again and...
Same thing. The ink goes right through.
Yep, and now let's try the Clearsource Ultra.
That's unbelievable. The water's perfectly clear.
It is, and only the Clearsource Ultra performs that well. Its technology was originally developed for NASA for the space program. It's pretty incredible.
So as you can see from the test that we did, aka dirty, stinky, rotten filters, and the Clearsource test where they show the virusing, it's pretty cool. We're pretty happy with it. We now have a filter system that we feel confident in. Just FYI, we do still filter our drinking water one more time using our Berkey. You might have seen that in our gift video, but it's a really, really good filter. We do recommend getting that probably before you're gonna go install a whole system. I mean, the Berkey, you can buy it on day one and start using it, and it'll give you good, clean drinking water. And that's it, guys. Hope you liked it. Don't forget to click the like button. Don't forget to subscribe, and we'll see you next time.